Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Sandeep Pednekar, and you are watching One Universe, the talk show that's based on the non-profit One Universe that fosters positivity through the promotion of love, peace, and harmony. So, what is promotion of love, peace, and harmony? In many contexts, it's doing good for the community. And doing good for the community is what we are going to talk about with our guest, Ines Negrette. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. I really appreciate it, Sandeep.
We are very glad that you are on the show. So, for the benefit of our listeners, please introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Ines Negrette, as you say. I'm the founder and executive director of CasaLuz. CasaLuz is the first and only nonprofit organization in the Memphis and Shelby County area that culturally and exclusively serves the Hispanic community. We only serve victims of violent crimes like domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and other violent crimes.
And I also would like our listeners to know you as a person. So, please tell us where you were born.
Okay, I'm from Venezuela, South America, and I am an attorney. I used to work in the criminal field. Before I moved out to the state, the political situation in Venezuela changed 20-something years ago, and that was the reason why we need to find another horizon for my son, because we knew, that sadly the country was going out of democracy, and sadly that's what we see today. So I was raised in Maracaibo, that is the Zulia state, where is the petroleum, really rich state, and my dad was a doctor. So I really grew up in a really privileged world, and I only face extremely challenges when I move out from my country and become an immigrant here. So I have been used to come to the U.S. for many years because my sister had been here, living here since she was 18, and I'm over 4 years ago. And I came just as a tourist, just to visit. But to me, it was just as a tourist. Venezuelan, we well known for tourists. We travel a lot, but never thinking about moving unless you wanted to study or you marry or a different reason. So that was never in my mind that I was going to live in another country, just traveling, you know. So sometimes life put your world upside down. And then I lived in Miami before moving to Memphis. And when I came to Memphis 23 years ago, Sandeep, it was really shocking to me. I didn't know that it was so behind about resources for immigrants. Okay. So that's how the challenges. I was working in a private world at the beginning. Then I become a volunteer for an organization serving victims of domestic violence and other crimes. And then...
And this you are volunteering for organizations even before becoming U.S. citizen or getting a green card?
I was in the process.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I was in the process. So then I had some challenges, and that was the reason why, seeing the lack of resources and services addressed to the needs of immigrants, that I started CasaLuz 8 years ago. Actually, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but it's also the anniversary of CasaLuz. And this year we're celebrating 8 years. 8 years that we have been doing a lot of good work, for victims of crime in our community.
And for the benefit of our listeners again, who are from all over the world, we have listeners who watch our show from every part of the world. What is the meaning of CasaLuz?
Well, the meaning is, if you put, it's one word together, okay? But casa means house,
correct,
home,
Mi
right?
casa, su casa.
Exactly, and luz means light. So sometimes people say, okay, CasaLuz, that means lighthouse. What can be lighthouse? Even in Spanish, we have another word that is faro for lighthouse. But that's the main thing, This is a place where our clients feel welcome, right? People that work here, we are part of the culture. Not just we are bilingual, we speak Spanish, but we're also part of the culture. And especially the majority of our clients are victims of domestic violence. And Sandeep, is really connected to the culture. It's not just finding a language to help with the language barrier, right? But understanding the culture to really, really support that victim and survivor in their process. Because sometimes people without bad intentions, they can speak the language or they can maybe assist in somebody through an interpreter. But if they don't understand the culture, they can be judging that victim or survivor without knowing that what they are doing. Like we have one time a case, a client told me that she went to a place and the person was nice, but was basically judging her. Why you didn't call police before if it had been happening? Just call police. And they didn't know all the struggles immigrants have when they reach out to law enforcement. Sometimes it's fears based on their experience reaching out to law enforcement in their home countries. And they already bring those fears here. Sometimes it's because of the response they receive here that is not really welcoming, or they use kids as interpreters instead of finding interpretation services for them. So it can be many, many, many reasons, right?
Right. And I also, as an immigrant, we know that, first of all, the cultures are different. The way immigrants grow up in their original countries it's totally different than what we are. And we watch Hollywood movies and all of that, but we don't truly understand what the real culture is of interactions and all of that. The other side of it is that Americans who are born and raised over here do not necessarily understand us. The way we react to a situation is different than what other Americans react to. So their perception of whether we are victims or we are perpetrators is totally different than what the facts are. Plus, the many times, many immigrants who come over here do not necessarily speak English. But even though the ones that do speak English, there obviously is an accent. I mean, I think I speak good English, but from an American perspective, the fact is that, oh, he has an Indian accent. Yeah. So he doesn't understand. So the perception is that if he is not speaking as fluently as we do in our accent, then he is not as smart enough, is the perception.
Exactly. We need to prove ourselves over and over
again.
That's the reality.
Right.
And about the accent, I remember one time I was in a meeting and this person was talking to me extremely loud and extremely slow. Okay? So sometimes it's passive-aggressive behaviors, because they don't like what you are saying, and many times it's just telling what is going on in our community. Sometimes they don't want to listen to that. And I just told them, look, thank God I'm not deaf, okay? And you can talk at a normal pace. I can understand you, okay? And I will try my best to speak slowly so you can understand me too. So that's why you see a difference when somebody is anti-immigrant, or at least their behaviors. Once they talk to you and they realize that you have an accent, immediately, like you said, immediately. And that behavior is what tells you.
Correct.
Yeah, and let me...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, let me tell you that remember, we only work with victims of crime. So in every area is different, but victim of crime is extremely difficult.
Correct.
Correct. Because it takes so long for an immigrant victim, it doesn't matter the country they're coming from, to reach out for help when their lives are at risk. Right. And not just to first responder, like it can be at a hospital, it can be a police officer, depending on the case, it can be a victim services, etc. It's already difficult. But sometimes that staff is not well trained and they use the personal bias. I have seen that over and over and over. We have an officer telling our clients, basically, what happened is your fault because in your country, you have to do what the man says to do. They use their own perceptions at work.
Okay.
You cannot do that when you are wearing a uniform, right? Whatever you think is your private life. And I always say that because we provide training to local law enforcement. And part of that is to bring this to their attention. You are free to think how you want it, but you cannot re-victimize a victim already.
Yeah.
That's not your position.
So I do want to get into the criminal side of what you're handling. You and I know each other for a long time.
A long time, many years, over 20 years.
Over 20 years.
Yes.
And I know as an immigrant, all immigrants, they have to be doing their job. I am one person, instead of doing my job, I have put myself in the community realm of helping community. And there are many segments of the community that I have put myself in,
Yes.
helping people with their housing, with multicultural, multi-ethnic things. And we both have been working towards that. I'm also associated with domestic crime, as you know, but I have not started a domestic violence nonprofit. I have been associated with associations that do work in the domestic violence realm. My question to you is, you have been associated with other things. What is it that made you get deep into handling domestic violence and crime cases that you decided to start CasaLuz?
Well, CasaLuz started as a huge injustice, okay? But it was a blessing in disguise. I was part of another local nonprofit, and they were not happy that I was really vocal about the different situation our clients were facing with law enforcement, with other agencies, and where the staff were using their personal bias against, and we're talking about victims of crime. That cannot come from those supposedly there to serve. They are not there to judge why somebody's here, and if they come with this situation or the other situation or the immigration status, you need to serve a victim, period. It's the law. They cannot. Or reject somebody from an emergency shelter, a victim of domestic violence escaping, that they have that protection, not because they're immigrant. Working with immigrants is difficult. We have so many of those issues in our community with our clients. So I was forced to leave that place. Okay?
So
that's what I found at CasaLuz.
They were clients when you were working for whom?
Another organization. I don't want to name it because it's not worth it.
Okay.
So that was the reason why I didn't have the support I needed.
Okay. So you saw saw a huge gap
extremely huge.
What that organization was doing and what the actual need was.
Yes.
So you decided that you needed to fill that gap, and that is why you started.
Yes. And not just that organization, it's other
so many other organizations
that were part of the same toxic behavior against immigrants. Let's put it that way. Okay? So that's what I said. Well, this is a blessing in disguise. Sometimes people do something with the intention, we bury this annoying Latina making trouble. But it's a good trouble, But I took it like nobody buried me. They planted me without knowing. I was able to grow.
Very nice. Beautifully put. Very good.
So that's how I start CasaLuz from zero. And let me tell you something. Nonprofit work, you have been related to nonprofit work for many years, is really difficult. For an American, that the English is the first language growing up here, is extremely difficult. Can you imagine for an immigrant that English is the second language? Dealing with another language itself is extremely difficult. But I was so determined to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. So I reported things that were done incorrectly to immigrants. And Sandeep, I report it, I say it, but I'm not going to sit to be a back and forth to people that they really don't want it. They don't care, period. So at that time, I decide, I report it, I say it, I need to take action, period. And I did everything by myself.
Very nice.
When I founded CasaLuz, Sandeep, my intention was to have an advocacy center, focus just on the advocacy. But immediately, we have to grow extremely fast and go to other services. If a client needs to call police, we do that here. The staff is bilingual. To place an order of protection, they don't have to go to any other place. In here, we help with the whole process. We have partners to refer to go to the OP hearings, and for immigration. And the same thing with counseling. We have 2 counselors, 2 Latina counselors here. So I have to expand all the services because the need is huge. It's also housing needs is big. So in the meantime, because we have grown so fast, just in 8 years, we need to slow down and make sure this foundation is really strong to continue growing. Because like housing is totally a new program. It's a new program that had to have their own director, all of that. So that's something that is in our vision, know. But in the meantime, we have an amazing grant from the state that allow us to help our client with emergency housing, transitional, rental assistance, utility, transportation.
Very nice.
Food,
very
culturally appropriate food.
Okay.
We do that. So,
so now let me ask you this. Right now, this office right now is on the main street in the city of Memphis, Poplar Avenue, and it's a very nice big office. But when you started 8 years ago, how did you get started, with how much funds and from whom?
Well, I was a volunteer myself, okay? And let me tell you something that not many people know. It's a lot of sacrifices that the community we serve don't know that we have. Like when I was pushed out of the place of war, it's really, Sandeep, the frustration comes that if you are doing something wrong, you deserve to be pushed out. But doing something that is good inside as a human being, you feel like, So I have an amazing job offer in Florida.
Okay.
And I was considering, but I said, I cannot let them win when the need is still out there. So I use all my retirement funds to be able to continue to have kids, living my life, etc., while I was dreaming with that. So how CasaLuz started, I have a conversation with Latino Memphis, and they allow me like a cubicle where I started. While we applied for a grant with another agency, a partnership from a federal grant. And in the meantime, that's how I started. I was there for like 4 months, and then we got that grant. And then we moved to a small office, just myself and a staff. And let me tell you, part of that grant was that we were going to serve 50 clients per year for a total of 150 clients, new clients, in 3 years, because the grant was 3 years. So it was a conversation with the grant manager,
and this grant was from whom?
That was from the Department of Justice.
Department of Justice.
It's a federal grant.
Federal
grant. So in that
and
grant,
you did the application for the grant?
No, we did it in partnership with another agency. We were partners. Yeah, we're together. It's a partnership. So and the conversation.
Let me also ask you, the 50 clients that you were helping every single year, what were the issues associated with those?
Victim of domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking, and stalking.
Okay, so there were 4 major.
Yes, all those crimes. Okay. So the situation came like it's difficult with the victim service open for the first time, not related to the government, because it's different. I mean, as an independent nonprofit, it takes years to be there in the community for clients to trust and come. So they said it's difficult that you are going to find 50 clients in a year. And I said, the community know pretty well our work. It doesn't matter under which umbrella. They know our work because we have been right there. And myself, I'm not the executive director that is sitting over, behind the desk. I'm right there. Right. You know that. So just one advocate and myself, the first year, Sandeep, you know how many clients we have? We served 166
in the first year. So I was thinking, so if it is 50 clients in 1 year, you're talking about helping 1 client a week. Now you're talking about at least 3.25 clients in 1 week.
Yes. And remember something that is important for your audience to understand. Let's say you go, if you don't have any big issue, you have a pain in one of your teeth, you go to the doctor, maybe they help you, or maybe twice per year you do a cleaning, that's it. With our cases, once you have 1 client, that can be your client for years. And for example, let's see, we have 20 new clients per month, okay? So in January, we had these 20 new clients. February comes, we have 10 new clients, but some of those 20 came to file a police report. The next month, they need to file an order of protection. They come again. The following month is the OP hearing. So you, beside the new one, you keep having more and more clients from the other month. So those are clients that you are serving to. So we serve right now an average of 250, 260 new cases per year and around 450, 500 ongoing cases per year.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, because it's that, like I said, that continuous.
And even when you're explaining these things, I'm thinking that you are able to service these clients and their requirements because you have already been in the field. You know what needs to be done.
Yes.
So
that's important.
As we can see right behind us, we have a whole wall of pictures, and this is what you have done, achieved, met, helped through your services over the years. So I know you mentioned all the things that you did, but if you can just pick a few and tell us what are these associated with, even with the Memphis Police Department, please let us know.
Well, here is different events that we have been part of, and how we have been making a stronger the relationship, because with law enforcement and advocate, many times the relationship is really difficult, you know, and that's why being an advocate is so important, because you need to be firm and be that voice what your clients are dealing with, but at the same time understand that it's a process. Okay, so having a little bit of patience, but at the same time being persistent, because if not, people will push you away. Oh, next week. I take that next week seriously. I will go back. And again, you push me back, I'm right there. That's the only way in a city that is not prepared to serve properly immigrants. That's the situation. And that has been over 20 years in total. With CasaLuz has been more intense because we have our own nonprofit. So we continue facing a lot of challenges locally. But through the years, sometimes even through difficult times, you are able to, people respect you and you respect them, but the goal is to work together. I remember one time I have an argument with a really high-ranking police officer, I'm not going to say which department, and he gave me a really bad look, like, you know, that look, intimidating look. So I said, look, you don't need to look at me like that, you know, that you don't like me. Don't worry, I don't like you either. This is not about liking each other. This is that we have a common goal. It's not that we like it or not. We have a community that needs us. We need to serve them. I do it because that's my decision. But you are wearing a uniform. It's part of your duty. It's nothing that says, I'm only going to serve those that look like me. No, you need to serve everybody that needs it, and you need to be prepared. And then it was difficult meeting, but after that, we worked really well for several years. So it takes time to build those partnerships. And that is the things that you see here, different events, community events. We do every October, we go to Hispanic churches along with police officers from different departments, and we go to the community, and I provide a presentation about domestic violence awareness, and we talk about what's domestic violence, the type of abuse, you know, the effects on the children, etc. And then the police officers that come with us, they talk about what they do, how to reach out to them, because it's important the community to understand that maybe they have a bad situation with one case, with one police officer. They cannot make that like it's the whole department. Because the sad part with immigrants, if they have a bad interaction, what happens is next time they won't call police. And we don't want that. We want immigrants to come. That was that officer. You can report it. And if you are afraid or you don't know how to do it, you reach out to us. We will help you and guide you. We have done that. Because they want the bad apples to come out, and they will have disciplinary, you know, because what they did. And that's a way for others to know this community is coming forward. It's not that afraid anymore. And that's what we're trying to do. We know that it has been really difficult in Memphis, and the majority of the support we have is from outside. The majority of the strong grants that let us work are from the state of Tennessee and from the Department of Justice that allow us to do this amazing job, because we are really basically alone many times, you know, and we can be in a place and they do and say things and did, but that doesn't apply to our clients. So it's like, that's good what you're saying, but that don't apply to our clients. We need to find our own ways, you know?
Yeah. And I have seen you work, I have seen your zest, even in meetings over the 2 decades. And you have gone over and beyond just talking and expressing yourself just in meetings and gone out in the community and worked your butt off. And I truly appreciate that.
Thank you, Andy.
Again, I want you to just repeat the work that you do, and then we are going to talk about what you're going to do in the future. So,
Okay.
apart from the 4 things that you mentioned,
Mhm.
please tell us again, what are the issues that you handle for your clients?
Okay. So, like I said, domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, human trafficking are the main crimes we serve. But we also serve victims of other crimes. The resources are less for aggravated robbery, aggravated assault. Like, for example, counseling is focused on domestic violence and breaking the cycle of abuse. But we still have services to provide to them. We have our client, our advocate go with them to court, etc. So, besides providing those direct services that we do in CasaLuz, part of my work is pushing for changes locally in the system on behalf of immigrants. And part of that is something that I provide, that is training to law enforcement and other agencies. And it's focused on language access, Title VI of Civil Rights Act or 1964, cultural sensitivity, okay? Not just awareness, sensitivity to immigrants and their issues, right, that are different than others. And also responding to limited English proficiency victims that are immigrants, victims of crime. So I provide those training, and it's an average of maybe 8 or 10 trainings per year. So we have provide training to Memphis Police Department, Sheriff Office, Millington Police Department, Colorado Police Department.
Very nice.
Yes, and we have good working relationship because I'm going to report to them. I don't let things to get bad. And if something need to be addressed, I push until we have that meeting and we address that issue. You know, if we want to work together. Sometimes people don't like that because they like what I call people pleaser. They want somebody that is nice and go to the photo, whatever. You are not going to push for a change if you do that. You don't have to be mean. I'm not vulgar, disrespectful, or anything like that. But I know what we can do. I know the law. I know the violation of Title VI that happen every day here in this city against immigrants. And I'm an advocate. I cannot be silent, you know? But at the same time, it's like, let's go work together.
So now let me also ask you, your main clientele is Hispanic.
Yes.
But if anybody would like to reach out to you who's non-Hispanic, would you help them?
We cannot because we are culture specific.
Very specific.
The organization is culture specific only.
Okay.
So we cannot.
So our listeners know that they cannot come to you if they are not Hispanic.
Exactly.
However, if they know of other Hispanics who are going through some problems, they can actually even ask to reach out to you.
Yes, and also at the same time, maybe you know somebody that is listening now, have a neighbor, you know, a relative, a co-worker, a classmate that is an immigrant, that is Hispanic, and they can reach out to us. You will provide information about our, you know, how to reach out to us, our website, our phone number, and we're here to serve everybody in need.
So what are you doing in the future? You talked about housing. So tell us about that.
That's a dream that we have. Yes, we need to work on that where we have a transitional housing. That's what I would like to for our clients. You know, sometimes it's really common having shelters, and that's great because it's an emergency 30 days shelter. You know, I would like to be able to provide for our clients more transitional housing when they can stay for months while they are recovering. Months. Yes, that's what I would like to.
Right now, what is the need? How many clients are you aware of do need transitional housing?
I will tell you at least 70-75%
at least right
of our
now.
clients.
And it could be more. It could be
because you know, sadly, domestic violence is totally connected many times with homeless.
Yeah.
And many of our clients are the majority are Hispanic. You know, in the Hispanic community, the level of women being the victims is higher than in other cultures, right?
Mhm.
So the majority of the cases, the man is the one that works. The woman stay at home with the kids, wanted to raise a family. Many times they have never worked in their life.
Mhm.
So they are not just homeless, they don't have to work.
All right.
And
Yeah.
some of them are in the process to get something through the U visa or asylum case, maybe any other. But you know, the immigration system is working really slowly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it takes many years. So sometimes they just prepare food to sell or take care of the kids in the meantime
Yeah.
while they get to there. So it's more difficult because there are other programs that maybe they require the person to have legal status in order to provide services, you know?
Okay.
So that doesn't
Yeah.
apply. So that's what we need to find while we get to the point that all services are provided equally to all the victims.
Perfect.
We need to continue
good.
fighting for our clients.
Okay. And I want to do what you do. I want to do what others, because my heart is in doing good for the community. And I know that I cannot do that.
Yes.
There are hundreds of people already doing this, and you are one that is doing good for the community. And I want to promote what you do. So please tell your website and the phone number people can reach at.
Okay, well, CasaLuz, the phone number is 901 500 8214.
Mm-hmm.
And you also can send an email,
Mm-hmm.
info@casaluzmemphis.org. Our website, please visit our website, is www.casaluzmemphis.org, or our social media. We have Facebook, CasaLuz Memphis, and Instagram is also CasaLuz Memphis.
Perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, you saw a fighter who has been doing good for the community, promoting the messages of love, peace, and harmony. Thank you so much, Ines.
Thank you, Sandeep, for this
And
opportunity
we would
to get
love
to your
to
people.
have you again on our show for talking about details of everything that we do.
Okay.
And maybe we can talk about specifics. If we don't want to name a client, that's fine, but specifics of how you help. And if you need more information, please reach out to us. The number is 901 849 DEEP. That is 849 3337. And you can also write to us at sgp97@hotmail.com. Until the next interview, have a great time. And know that when you tune in to our show, that we are going to talk about another good thing that promotes positivity through the promotion of love, peace, and harmony.